Hey guys, what is going on? This is Zip of RageQuitTV, gonna be casting a game between Liquid, Jinro, and FXO.Choya. It is a TVP on Entombed Valley, and on this map, in competitive play, the Protoss has a 78% win rate against Terran, but it's only been used in 2012, so that's a total of 9 games. Protoss winning 7 of them, Terran winning 2 of them, so not the biggest sample size, so take those results with a grain of salt. Many players have been complaining that Protoss is just too strong, but I think many people just haven't learned how to deal with the new style of Protoss. Of course, in PvZ, all the Protoss have been starting to go for Forge, Fast Expands, and while that may not seem new, 2 or 3 months is really not too new when it comes to how to deal with things, because there's been so many forks of how Protoss just do things. So we'll see if Jinro does have an answer to how to do TVP. I know many Terran players are, don't let Protoss get to the late game, and once they hit 3-3, you are not going to be winning. Of course, many Terran players still manage to win it because Protoss has not won that many GSLs. They've won 2, Terran's won the most, and Zerg has won the second most, because that's how it works when you have 3 races. Of course, random, not winning a single GSL, and man, when that day comes, I will be so ridiculously happy if someone can manage to win that as random, but that won't be happening anytime soon. We do have a gateway being built at 13 for Choya. He is going to be getting his gas at 14, it looks like, because I don't know of any Protoss that favors gasless expansions. All Protoss love that gas. We do have Jinro just playing the standard 10 supply depot, 12 racks. Choya is going down to scout after his pylon, or maybe that was after his gateway. The thing is, he is going to scout Jinro second because they did spawn complete cross positions, and Jinro decided to scout at 15 supply before he gets his gas, so this may be a gasless expansion by Jinro, and we'll see exactly what Choya does to stop it, because he will be able to scout this unless Jinro gets a supply depot up in time. And it doesn't look like he will, because his SV is at 250 minerals, not going to be placing that supply depot. May just be going straight for the expansion, doesn't care if Choya scouts him or not. The probe is coming, and Jinro is getting that Marine out. Will it be out in time? The probe is coming, the Marine now just popping. Jinro does throw his expansion down, and the probe does not see anything. He gets hit by that one Marine and decides to back off. And Choya missing a lot of good scouting information, doesn't know about any of the gases, doesn't know about this command center, and Jinro now can be walling that off, but again, his command center is completely defenseless. Choya just can get the watchtower. He is placing a pylon over here. Looks like this is just so he can whoop units down here. It's showing that he does want to take an expansion relatively soon. Looks like it will be a 1-gate expand from Choya, or maybe not. Kind of surprised me how he just came in, saw that Marine, and decided to back off without seeing anything. What will he feel safe doing? The SCV for Jinro is coming in just to get a scout on exactly what Choya is doing. He sees that 7X core being chrono boosted, which means Whoopgate should finish around 5:30, 5:45. I think that is the standard timing for that Whoopgate research. Choya is indeed going to go for a 1-gate expand against Jinro, and he just has a feeling Jinro is going to be playing his macro style. Of course, Jinro is known for his macro style. Back when he was in the GSL, he was the one playing macro when every other Terran player was cheesing. Does get that bunk up, immediately puts units inside. I'm kind of curious if he's going to send a scout out around a 5:15, because the Protoss want to build pylons around 5:30, so it's done at 6 minutes, which means they're about ready to whoop in. We do have the SCV for Jinro now going to be just scouting around. He did scout Choya's base, went all the way over here, and then is going to be going back in. So maybe he's looking for any probes, trying to catch any on the pathing if they're not going to go through the middle of the map. I don't know exactly what Jinro's plan is, but he is going to be coming back in. We'll see a Zealot and a Sentry, and indeed find out this is a 1-gate expand. I think he saw that at the last possible second. Yes, he did. We do have a probe now for Choya, going to be placing that pylon at 5:30. Like I said, want to get out and scout around that. Jinro did find that one probe. He knows, oh my god, that's just before 5:30. There may be a pylon up, but he's not going out to scout, so maybe he doesn't know that. He may think it's a trap with Choya sitting out with a lot of stalkers outside of his base. Regardless, he is just chilling in. Doesn't really have a wall up just yet. Going over to the workers, it is 24 SCVs to 27 probes, and Jinro is taking his 3rd base already. Choya is up to 3 gates. That pylon is complete. It is past 6 minutes, so Warp Gates, of course, is done. Choya decided to whoop in the units at his base. Not this one pylon, is going to be moving his units out to that pylon and probably whoop in another wave and then go put some pressure on Jinro. You can see Jinro working on taking out these destructible rocks and getting a supply depot up. Jinro does find that one pylon, sees units whooping in, so he knows something is coming, and Jinro's going to be placing these bunkers slightly back And this is because a lot of Protoss like doing a lot of force fields in this area where my mouse just went. If you place the bunkers in the back, well, you can still repair them. It takes 2 waves of force fields, or possibly 3, just to block all these bunkers. It's very repair-proof. And here we go, Choya is coming in. There's a lot of Marines. They immediately get outside that bunker, so in case force fields came down, they would not be trapped when that bunker falls. Jinro sees, okay, the SCVs did get there to repair, so he puts those units back in. And you can see Jinro just playing very cautiously, because all he knows is Choya went for this 1 net gate expand, and he could be putting on like 7 gate pressure behind this. And Jinro did take his 3rd base, is morphing that into an orbital command, so he is very, not good on his defense, so he has 3 bunkers up, which is quite a bit. Choya is taking his 3rd base as well as getting a Twilight Council. And those sentries going to be falling back to base. He still has this 1 pylon. I'm kind of curious if Jinro is going to feel safe at any point and take those out. And Lone Marine does come in just to scout what Choya is doing. Very nicely done by Jinro. Of course, Choya does see this. Jinro is going to see all these sentries come back home, and then most likely will be moving out as he knows Choya is at home. We'll see. Does he immediately move out after that? The SCV going out to test the waters or just build another supply depot. It looks like he is going to be building a supply depot. Jinro not going to be leaving to take out that pylon. Instead is getting a missile turret up. Did he scout anything? He threw the scan down, does see the Twilight Council, sees it being chrono boosted, so he knows either charge or blink, most likely blink. And Choya going to be taking out these destructible rocks. And Jinro taking out 1 Marine to take out this pylon, most likely. Choya transferring a lot of probes over to this 1 expansion just as it finishes. Going to the working count is 42 SCVs versus the 53 probes. So we have Choya using a lot of his chrono boost on his Nexus. More pylons being built, so he doesn't supply camp himself. That blink is just about done. It's halfway done, so we'll see if Choya puts on more pressure and gets some sort of blink timing. And that 1 Marine still working on that pylon. It's going to take him a long time to take that out. We do have another probe, but this is the same probe that... No, it's a different probe that built this pylon, because the probe that built the pylon walked into Jinro's base and went for a swift death. But he's going to be making another pylon back here, so when this one does fall, he still has a forward pylon. Looks like Choya is getting ready to move out with that blink finishing. And another probe does come out for Choya just in case this one does get spotted. So it looks like Choya's thing is always keep a probe out. When one goes to build pylons, put another one out just in case that probe gets taken out. You still can put reinforcing pylons very quickly. One thing that Choya hasn't done is get any detection, so he's kind of just banking on the fact that Jinro does not go for any cloaked Banshee type play. Of course, he's just seen minerals used of Jinro, so he can't be perfectly safe about that. Wonder what gives him that stir sense that Jinro is not going to be going for those routes. Maybe it's just metagame. But yeah, Choya doesn't really see too much of Jinro. Does see a few Mars with that 1 probe. Does have 2 pylons scattered across the left side and 1 on the right side. Choya just has a lot of forward pylons. We do have 1 SCV sitting here watching Choya's 4th base and a Marine sitting right here. I guess maybe a pylon could be placed up here and then warp units down on that low ground from there. Jinro going to be moving out with a lot of units, taking out some forward pylons. This will not supply cap Choya. Does put him very close at 131 out of 134. He's not building any more pylons, and Jinro is going to be taking out yet another one. And this will turn Choya's supply upside down. He's only building 1 pylon, so he will be supply capped when that one finishes. He'll be at 134 out of 134. We do have 3 more pylons being built behind that. The Marine does stem off that washout as he does see Choya coming. And Jinro, does he have medevacs out yet? He is building 2. It looks like those will be the first 2 medevacs. And Jinro does have to get those medevacs to put some pressure on, because Choya can warp all his units right now safely in the middle of the map. When Jinro does get medevacs and do drops, that will force Choya to morph units back and home, which makes his force in the middle not as strong. If Jinro decides to engage in this middle of the map, Choya will, oddly enough, have a defender's advantage thanks to that warp-in mechanic. So Jinro does have to put pressure on Choya. His medevac's coming out a little bit late, but he did go for that very fast 3rd base. And Choya going to come up here, sees this wall, and is going to be engaging on it. SCV is pulled off to try to repair this bunker, but they're not going to make it there in time. Choya now placing the force fields down. Those zealots trying to come in, and a lot of them trapped in that back. And Choya is going to be falling back, most likely because those zealots were not in the front of his army. But he is going to be coming up, sees another wall of Jinro, will assume the 3rd base is here. And now he's going to be engaging, and the sentries are up enough where he can force field this area. Is he going to be doing that and blocking Jinro from coming in? It looks like, yes, he does get the force fields off. Jinro is going to have to give up his 3rd base. And there's Mules now deciding, oh, it's not good. This one already lost the will to mine, as Choya does just demolish everything with these force fields. As Jinro does pull back, the command center is going to lift. These barracks do get canceled. And now Zealots coming in from that front door, but they are going to be met with a swift death. And Choya is kind of repelled, but he did do a lot of damage. Did kill 16 SCVs, so that worker count now 64 to 72. Jinro still has plenty of SCVs. And looks like he's going to try to defend this. This is still a narrow choke, and force fields do go down, but Jinro immediately lifts units up. Now going to be catering them to the back of his army. SCVs are repairing this bunker. Those Zealots aren't doing anything, but there's only 3 Zealots. A lot of the Stalkers, however, way in the back, not getting any shots off, and this force of Jinro looks like it's enough to push Choya back. Going over in this loss tab, we do have Jinro losing a little bit less than Choya, and now Jinro does have to do those drops, but Choya not going to let loose on that aggression. Does have a pylon very close to the battlefield. Another supply depot is going to go down, but that does not stop Jinro one bit. 118 out of 129 supply for Jinro, 115 out of 182 for Choya. Jinro storming ahead even with some SCVs. Stalkers do get an aggressive blink, and then Jinro does turn around. Now going to go back to his wall where he has these bunkers with Marines to give extra DPS. Those medevacs are very low in energy. They don't have any energy left, so they're going to be virtually useless. And these 3 Marines still just chilling out right there. I'm not exactly sure what they're doing this one over here. And Jinro does have to do drops now because, as I said, Choya does have a defender's advantage if Jinro wants to engage outside of his base. But if Jinro does drops, if Choya just whoops in a lot of units, he will be able to do massive amounts of damage as Choya is way out of position. Additionally, every unit whooped inside of Choya's base is not a unit whooped down here. But you can see Choya just preparing for those drops by morphing in those Zealots. Does have a high template to try to feed back a dropship. And there we go for Jinro. Going to be doing that one drop. These Marines here do scout the units. Choya is at 1 armor while Jinro is at 2-1. So Jinro does have that upgrade advantage pretty big as well. He is working on 3-2 right now. Choya just getting Protoss armor level 2 while getting his second forge, it looks like. The drop is going to be coming in, and Choya, does he have any units at home? No, it looks like all his Zealots did move out that he whooped in at home. So this drop could do quite a bit of damage. And does Choya see this? He sees the one Marauder, Jinro being a little bit slow there. And Choya now whooping in Zealots to defend this one base. Jinro, though, working on those SCVs while he does come in, knows that a whoop-in was used at the base, so now is his chance to move out and take out any pylons or any stray units. Does have this washout, does have 2 ghosts in with his group, and now the medevac does go down with some units in it. Going to the worker tab, it is 13 workers killed versus the 26. Jinro is going to get that Urcom kill for virtually free. Those medevacs have gained some of their energy, and here we go, a big engagement. The enemy supply favoring Jinro right now. Feedback's going off on those ghosts. Those ghosts don't really get too many EMPs off. Some of those Zealots are down, and Jinro is forced to kite his way back. And Choya does have a pylon right here where he's going to be whooping in more units. And Jinro is forced to turn tail and run here. Those medevacs now going to be taking out Choya, of course, with those aggressive blinks to go on that. But Jinro reinforcing this with a lot of Marines going into this army supply. It is right now still even, but those storms just did massive amounts of damage to Jinro. As Zealots do come charging in here, Jinro does have quite a spread of units. But Choya, actually the army supply is still about even. This one ghost trying to run, but he does not do drugs. He is a drug-free guy. And, well, he just managed to still make it back home. And Choya is going to be falling back to his whoop-in pylon, and maybe all the way back home, knowing that, he is ahead on bases, or assuming he is ahead on bases, since he did secure his 4th base and is now taking his 5th base. So every engagement, Choya is just taking another base. Jinro at 3, Choya going to be at 5. That is not a good situation for Jinro, despite him having that upgrade advantage. He is at 2-2 right now. That +3 on his weapons just about done. Another 30 seconds, actually, until it does complete. Choya, though, does have a lot of high templars. Those things will have storms when the next battle does occur. We still have Jinro with just a few Marines scattered around. I'm not sure exactly what the purpose of these are. Maybe to find out if any warp prisms are coming. Now that +3 for Jinro is complete, but he is not feeling confident as he is not moving out to do anything with this +3 attack. Looks like he just wants to macro up. Going into this units tab, we do see 67 SCVs versus the 76 probes. Going into the income, we do see that Jinro is ahead in those minerals thanks to mules, but behind 1 base in gas because Choya is mining off of 4 bases of gas, soon to be 5 and possibly even 6 as the next base is on the way. We do have Jinro with personal cloaking. Does Choya keep an observer with his army? It looks like he does, but Jinro may be able to snipe this observer. He does get it, throws out another one, doesn't see any observers. He may be waiting for this cloak to finish before he engages. No, it looks like he is just going to be going ahead. Those High Templars try to go, but some feedbacks go off. Only one storm can go off. Very nice feedbacks of Jinro, but no feedbacks used on those Urkons. Wait, there goes another EMP on that Urkon. Jinro now cutting back so the Zealots don't do any damage, but Jinro just doesn't seem to have the army. Choya at 20 supply ahead in terms of that army. Jinro, though, ahead in upgrades. More units out with SCVs to absorb those shots. The Zealots at 1-2. Jinro is at 3-2. But Jinro, sadly, looks like he is going to be losing this fight, and there goes the GG. And oh my god, Choya, even though Jinro was just so far ahead in upgrades, Choya just manhandled him in that engagement, despite all those EMPs, and let's just look at it. Let's go back to that battle. Instead of hitting B, oh, whoa, that was a big click. Let's go right here. No, this is not that engagement. B, maybe right here. Yeah, we're about at it. So, Jinro is taking his 4th base and now wants to be moving out. And this is just before the battle. So, let's look at where Jinro's units are. He does have a handful of Marines back at home, and his barracks, oddly enough, not producing any right now. And Jinro's minerals are at 1K and 700 gas. Choya, his minerals and gas very low. The army supply is 76 to 92, so Choya starts that fight with a 20 supply advantage. And then he will also be able to get a whoop in, most likely, during the whole battle. There goes a storm. Lots of units already in the deep red or yellow. And there we go, another whoop in. Jinro, as he's coming back, all those units do finish of Choya. Jinro has a handful of units back here. There's 2 ghosts, a lot of Marines and Marauders. And this, he could whoop in because Jinro is not doing any drops. He did like 1 drop that entire game. You can see Choya not having any defenses against drops. Does have quite a few warp gates up. But, I think in TVP, of course, I'm not a high caliber player like Jinro, but I think you absolutely have to do drops. So Protoss don't just start whooping in the middle of the fight, and when you engage in the middle map, they get a whooping. You have all your units back in home. Or not all of them, but a handful of them back in home. It just doesn't bode well. And then as Jinro's kites, his medevacs, of course, cannot keep up with it. So the medevacs will be going down so slowly, but surely the medevacs do fall. And then when it gets back to Jinro's front door, 53 supply to 68, so maybe the medevacs don't fall just yet. I thought I saw them falling. And here we go, medevacs falling. And there goes a lot of the army supply of Jinro just in those medevacs. 3 fell there, 8 fell, that's 8 supply, 4 fell, which is 8 supply. And then, of course, Marines just not doing so well. That will be the game. We'll go over into SC2 gears momentarily and see exactly how that did play out. Opening it up, put this over. Yes, we do see it. Jinro versus Choya. And the thing I'm most curious about is Choya's macro APM, because we see a lot of Protoss with the macro APM around like 30 or 40. But Choya has a 72 macro APM, micro APM at 108. Macro APM for Jinro is 76, micro at 137. Redundancy for Jinro, 27%. Choya at 24%, but of course the EAPM for Jinro is higher at 154, while Choya is at 137. The actions per minute, 213. Choya at 181. Going into the unit tiers, we can just see what these people built come late game. You can see Jinro just building a lot of Marines, some Marauders, and Ghosts, just your standard bioplay. When did he stop that medevac production? Medevacs are right here, so it looks like he stopped it at that mark, 14:05, which is probably around 18, 19 minutes into the game. Choya looks like he missed a whoop-in right here. He never hit 200 supply, and whenever you have these big black bars, I believe that means a missed whoop-in. Well, maybe it means High Templars have a longer cooldown. No, I think it's a missed whoop-in. I'm not exactly sure exactly what that is. Let's go to the map view. Was anything happening at that time? Choya was right here. Jinro's vision was here. Going animate. They weren't fighting, so maybe he didn't miss a warp in. I'll have to look more in depth to that, of course. I am new to TVP on SC2 gears. I don't use it all that much. Well, I do now. I didn't used to. Let's see how many EMPs and storms and stuff we've taken. That was pretty cool. I love this graph. Let's go all the way to the end game. We have 3 feedbacks and 3 storms for Choya. Jinro with 15 EMPs, 31 stems, 7 scanner sweeps, 1 supply depot raise, and 2 call-downs. That's the one I was looking for. With the attack move commands, Choya had 325, Jinro had 289. 31 mules were called that game. And that's an odd one. The return cargo command for Jinro was used 51 times. For Choya, it was used 9. 16 Guardian Shields, 24 Force Fields, 16 Blinks, and 9 Archons. And 63 Chrono Boosts. That is a lot of Chronos. So we have 31 plus 7, that would be 38. And then 40. So Jinro used his macro mechanic 40 times, while Choya used it 63 times. And that's most likely because he has more bases, more nexuses. Going to his energy, this one is sitting at 100, this one is sitting at 27, this one's sitting at 96, this one's sitting at 55, and 56. So, even though he called so many chrono boosts, it doesn't look like he was perfect with his chronos, as a lot of those nexus are very high. Going to this, he has all his nexus hotkey. It looks like he missed his 6 base, but that one just completed. And High Templars on a hotkey. 3 Stalkers. Those are interesting. What are they? It's just 3 random Stalkers on a hotkey. Let's go back to the battle. See what the hotkeys were like. Okay. Hotkey usage. This is going to be interesting. Still the random 3 Stalkers. And looks like most of his army, besides High Templars, on 1. And his High Templars on 3. His little lonely probe, I don't know what this probe is, but he is special. Warp gates he uses on a hotkey. Kind of odd since he could just push W. His Robos, of course, on a hotkey. He doesn't hotkey any of his forges, which is a little bit odd. Since a lot of, even though you don't use your forge that much, I mean, you only have, what, Protoss has 9 upgrades in the game to get out of those forges. It's very nice to have them on a hotkey, just so you can hit that and kind of see where they are at. How far along they are. So Choya, if you want to see how far along his research was before a battle, you would have to go back and manually look at when, if he had them hotkey, he could just hit like 4, and they could see his usage if they were just about done or not. That does become very useful in the higher levels of the game. Kind of surprised Choya doesn't have that. Does Jinro have his E-bays? No, he doesn't. So maybe I'm completely wrong about that. Jinro not hotkeying his engineering bays. So just something I see a lot of the old Broodwood pros like MC that switched over, or MVP, just hotkeying those buildings because they constantly do hitting like 3, 4, 5 or something like that. Just checking the status on all the production buildings. Let's go back into SC2 gears. Was there anything else we wanted to look at? APM we looked at. Hotkeys not too useful. Map view we kind of used. Unit tiers, productions, not too much. Resources spent. You can see that Choya has spent more minerals and gas than Jinro, but just barely on that gas. Choya with 8625 gas mine, while Jinro has 6800, so about 2k more gas. No, yeah, 2k more gas. And Jinro is behind by about 7k minerals at 29k versus 36k. So, yeah, that'll probably pretty much do my cast. Hope you enjoyed. Any suggestions, anything you didn't like during the cast, please let me know in the comments. Anything you do like in the cast, also let me know. Don't forget to subscribe. It does help me. And, yeah, have a good day. And that's an odd thing for the hotkey. I think am I on action distribution? Okay. Take care, guys.